goes over to Halifax County, and I'm born 9 months later. So he's 9 months older than I am.
Well, what she's really telling you is that the Lord looked at me and said, that poor little scoundrel's gonna need a lot of help.
Yeah.
And then he,
See, we didn't have running water in the house. Mama would give us youngins all baths
Mm-hmm.
out in a big pan and heat water on the stove.
Oh, wow.
And she still tells stories lamplight.
I was 20 years old when I got married, and he lacked about 2 or 3 weeks being 21.
I think Mama Mac was 19 when y'all got married.
Right, we both were 19.
You both were 19. Oh, that's right, because she's a few months older than you.
No, yeah, she's 2 months older than I am.
Okay.
We both had grades to go to college,
Mm-hmm.
but there's no way I was going to go to college.
Did either one of you think about going to college or taking any college courses, or did y'all just go
Faye did, but I didn't. Daddy had a store, and I run the store for him. Had 8 brothers and 5 sisters, which made 9 boys and 5 girls. Oh, Dad worked.
Yeah.
We farmed.
Okay.
He had, and he would, as a child would get older, and there won't no labor law then.
Mm-hmm.
You worked, if you were big enough to hand, you could hand the backer. When you went to school, you got to hand, we made bundles of tobacco and tied them on a stick and put them in a barn and cured tobacco.
Oh, okay.
And you could find a job for a child,
Mm-hmm.
and neighbors, he'd hire the other children in the neighborhood to put in a barn of tobacco.
He said, I got 2 girls trying to get boys and got boys trying to get nothing.
come on,
Well,
That's what
well,
you said.
how?
I think I would forget that.
We wanted 3,
Okay.
and we were, when Nicole come along, they were getting, she didn't know where she was gonna get pregnant or not.
Oh, yeah.
But she did wind up, we wound up with the 3 that we decided we wanted
Okay.
to start with, and then we got 1 boy and 2 girls.
Yeah. Well, it worked out.
Yeah, we were blessed with that.
Do you think you treated one differently than the other, or did you learn?
Yes, your daddy was treated somewhat different from any of them. He had a little more freedom.
Mm-hmm.
The first
Jesse
place
said-
you go and that's your child, and they're gonna be kind of perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they got minds of their own.
He said we had
And
3.
they,
He said we had 3.
and you had
found
to
out we weren't
adjust
gonna have a
and-
perfect, and then we just
And
enjoyed
they
it.
say,
When your mama come along,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't, we were living from week to week.
Oh, yeah.
And we didn't have much money,
Mm.
and with Faye working, and I was trying to farm, and then I finally made a decision not to farm, and
Mm-hmm.
I got me a job, and we got making a little more money, and things got easier then.
Yeah.
that's the biggest pride you have, and you've been pretty. If your children turn out well,
Mm-hmm.
and your grandchildren and all, you've had a pretty successful life. Nothing you could ask for much more than that.
I remember my 2nd grade teacher. I remember one thing that she told us that I had never forgot,
What's that?
and that we were taking a reading, and she just stopped in the middle of her thing and had a story she wanted to tell us, to share with him.
Okay.
And it was about, let's see now, let's see if I can get it together. It was about a dog and two girls.
Talking about raising children that Gibbon
Mm-hmm.
said that, you know, you train your children the best you can.
Mm-hmm.
Direct them, you carry them to church, you do whatever thing. But it's like putting a bow and an arrow.
Mm-hmm.
That when you pull and shoot the arrow,
Mm-hmm.
once you turn it loose,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many other elements like wind and different things. But that aim is still important.
The little dog had them a bone, and they had them a sandwich.
Okay.
Going to have their own private party
Mm-hmm.
with the dog, and the dog was walking across it and looked in the water and saw another dog
Uh-huh.
that had a bone, and it was larger than his bone,
Mm-hmm.
the dog bone, and he dropped it and sailed in the water to get the bigger bone,
Yeah.
and it disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
The dog lost his bone. It went down the
Yeah.
brook.
Because he was looking at his reflection.
He was looking at it through a reflection.
Now, money is a comfort now. Let me tell you one thing, don't underestimate it. I'd rather have it than not have it.
Yeah.
But it is not the total happiness of life.
That is what greed will do to you.
Mm-hmm.
You lose it all
Yeah.
if you try to not be satisfied with the small bone.
Mm-hmm.
And so he lost his dinner
Mm-hmm.
in the brook when walking across and saw his reflection in the water.
Yeah.
And I ain't never forgot about that.
And he and I used to sing together. We
Me,
used to sing together in the car together.
Oh, okay.
never had any desire to be a performer now.
Mm-hmm.
Mama would tell stories, and she wouldn't let you tell her story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could tell the story, but you couldn't use the names.
Uh-huh.
You had to if you changed the name, you could tell. She let you tell and she tried to get you to tell the story
Okay.
by changing his name. And her name might have been John or Joe or
Uh-huh.
in the story, but you had to call him Bill.
Oh, okay.
And then you could tell her story.
Do you
That
remember?
was the way to get the youngins. I didn't realize it till I got grown, but
Yeah.
that was the way that she taught her children to tell stories.
Oh, cherish the cross, the old rugged cross, till the truth is at last I lay down. I will cling to the cross, the old rugged cross, and exchange someday for a crown.
Softly and tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling for you and for me. See on the portals, he's waiting and watching, watching for you and for me. Come home, come home, come home. tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling, oh sinner, come home.
I remembering my grandmother Barbara.
Yeah.
Here's the way she taught. We had a choir when I was little,
Uh-huh.
and she would sit there.